বন্ধুরা আসলে এই ইউকে ট্রিপে অদ্ভুত ঘটনা ঘটছে। বাস ছাড়বে 9টায়। আমি যে ট্রেনে করে এসেছি ট্রেন আনফর্চুনেটলি 10 মিনিট লেট ছিল। যখন 9টা বাজে তখন আমি স্টেশন থেকে বেশ দূরে। নেনাকে ফোন করে বললাম কোনোভাবে তাদেরকে ফোনে বলা যায় কি না যে আমার ট্রেন লেট, আমাকে যেন তারা নিয়ে যায়। 9টা 5-এ আমি যখন স্টেশনে, তখন জানি না কোথা থেকে, বিশাল বড় স্টেশন, কোথা থেকে বাস ছাড়বে আমি জানি না। পরে 9টা 5-এ আমি তো ধরে নিয়েছিলাম যে 9টা 5 যখন বেজে গেছে তখন ওকে আমি যেতে পারবো না। তো তখনই আমাকে, যখন আমি স্টেশনে ঢুকছি তখন একটা ফোন আসে। তো আমি তখন বুঝতে পারি আননোন নাম্বার থেকে দেখে যে মনে হয় আমার আজকের যে লকলেমেন্ট ট্রিপের যে সুপারভাইজার সেই ফোন করে, এবং আমি তার সামনে ছিলাম। যাই হোক, আল্লাহ তাআলার অশেষ রহমতে ওরা আমার জন্য অপেক্ষা করেছে। ধন্যবাদ নিনাকে, সে ফোন না করলে হয়তো ওয়েট করতো না। পরে আমি 9টা 5-এ বাসে উঠি। আমি অ্যাপোলজি হই যে আমার জন্য লেট হচ্ছে। ওরা খুব দে আর সো পোলাইট, এভরিবডি আর সো পোলাইট। ওকে, শেষমেশ আমি বাসে উঠতে পারি। এখন প্রথম স্টপেজ আমি জানি না কোথায় নেমেছি, একটু পরে ম্যাপ দেখব। আর ভদ্রমহিলা নিজেই গাড়ি চালাই, নিজেই ব্রিফ করে। এই যে বিচ, চমৎকার একটি বিচ। আমি দেখি ম্যাপে নামটা কি, জানি না নাম। ওয়াও, চমৎকার। আচ্ছা স্যার, নামটা দেখি গুগলে কি বলে। আসলে লুজ বিচ। আমি আছি লকলেমন্ডের লুজ বিচে, স্কটল্যান্ডের হাইল্যান্ডে যাচ্ছি আমি। আপনারা দেখতে পাচ্ছেন এখানে একেবারে আমাদের দেশি হাঁসের মতন, দেশি হাঁসি, এটা বাংলাদেশের মতো হাঁস, অসাধারণ। এখানে আমাদের 1 ঘন্টার একটা ব্রেক।
Gifted to Glasgow by America, and the reason it sits on top of that building is that used to be the receiving house for goods coming into Glasgow from the States. Then went to become offices, and after that, and now it's flats, it's apartments. The other one's in George Square, a wee bit more difficult to find because it's concrete and not just as recognisable. I think that's really cute, I like that one. Got a huge student population in Glasgow as well, and over in the right hand side you'll see some of the steeples and the spires of the Glasgow University buildings. And Strathclyde University is in the city centre, and we've also got Caledonian University that's just beside the bus station where I picked you up actually, and the Conservatoire for Music, Scottish Conservatoire for the music school. And on the left hand side it'll be salt water, and it'll flow into being fresh water as it goes up the Clyde. And Kilpatrick itself, and kill in front of a name in Scotland means church, so it's the Church of Patrick, it's Kilpatrick, and it's actually named after St Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. he was actually born here back in the 6th century. And as a young boy, when he was about 14 or 15 years old, he was actually captured by pirates and he was taken to Ireland. Where he was made to herd sheep out in the fields, or out in the hills even. And he found Christianity after he was captured. He found Christianity and he started worshipping and preaching. And he did that for a long time and then managed to escape and made his way back here to Kilpatrick where his family were, and continued to worship and preach, and eventually went back to Ireland and became their patron saint. So the patron saint of Ireland was actually born in Scotland. So who knew? But we don't really say too much because St Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland, and he was never ever in Scotland. So I don't know how it all works, but there you have it. And England's patron saint is St George, and Wales is St David. But the only one that really is well celebrated is St Patrick's Day, and that's in March. And I think Australia, America, most countries actually celebrate. Ireland and here in Scotland will celebrate St Patrick's Day. But people actually have days off work and stuff and drink lots of Guinness, so why not? That tends to be the one that's celebrated the most, or most talked about anyway. For Valentine's, the people of Dumbarton decided that because the whisky was being made here, they shouldn't pay for it. So when everyone had gone home from work at night, the people of Dumbarton used to go down and steal the whisky. So Mr. Ballantyne was not very happy about this, because this had gone on for a few weeks till he realised what was happening. So he decided to go out and buy himself half a dozen German Shepherd dogs to guard the whisky bond. So he did that, and the dogs were put in place, very well looked after during the day. But the people of Dumbarton were quite smart, and they went down at night and took the dogs sausages and biscuits and all sorts of stuff and made friends with them. So the dogs, being well fed during the day, were delighted to have some snacks at night as well. So they were eating the sausages and biscuits while the people of Dumbarton continued to steal the whisky. So Mr. Ballantyne back to the drawing board and said, right, this is not good enough. So he went out and bought himself a dozen geese. And geese in the sky are very lovely. They do that nice V-shaped thing, and they one change who's leading and all that good stuff, help each other out. But on the ground they're very territorial. And they'll run at you, they'll spit at you, they'll attack, they're horrible things. So when the people of Dumbarton were now down with the sausages and biscuits for the geese, they were not interested in the least, because they had a job to do, and that was to guard this area that they now considered to be their territory. So the theft of whisky actually stopped overnight. And these geese were very, very famous, and people think this is a made-up story, but it's actually true. They were very famous. They were in the local newspapers, the news, and there was a documentary made after them about them as well. And they were nicknamed the Scotch Watch. And they were retired about 10 years ago, so 2012 only when they retired, and they retired to a bird sanctuary down in Port Glasgow, but they were replaced by none other than CCTV. So it's a gravy story, and a true one, because sometimes in Scotland, as you may know, we don't let the truth get into the way of a good story, but that's a true one. So we're crossing over the River Leven, and that runs into Loch Lomond, and we'll get a glimpse of Loch Lomond very shortly as we go along the road here. And as I said, our first stop will be in the small village of Loch, which which is maybe about 10 miles along the road. It's not that far. Along towards Loch and our bus stop. So it's 24 miles long and 5 miles wide at its widest point. If you take a balloon and you blow up the balloon, that's kind of the shape of Loch Lomond. There's 37 islands on it. The biggest one is Inchmirren. That out, but I'll leave that up to you. But I don't even have one joke now. Can you imagine? So we've only been driving for about 35 minutes and we're already well out of the city centre and into the countryside with the landscape changing. Cloud base is quite low this morning, so when we get to see Lomond, which should just be in front of us just now, but the cloud base is pretty low and we'll be covering the top of it, so we might need to use a bit of imagination for the moment. That cloud can move around very, very quickly and clear up and then come back in just as quickly. As we've come through the roundabout there, we've actually come into the Highlands of Scotland, and if you had to find a map of Scotland, using that wee one in my tea towel there, if you find Aberdeen in the northeast, the corner there, and draw a straight line towards Loch Lomond, where we are just now, you can lift Scotland up and break it into two distinct parts, the lowlands of Scotland and the Highlands. So I live in Ayrshire, much further down, so I would be considered a lowlander, and anyone who lives in this island, this area and further up would be a Highlander. The area that we're in at the moment would have been owned by the Prohor clan, and clan in Scotland is like family. You don't use words like clan anymore, but they're very famous from days gone by. And the Prohor clan were very wealthy, and they were farmers first and foremost. They weren't great fighters. They would fight because most of the clans had to at some point, but they weren't big fighters. They would rather farm the land and live quite quietly. And the gate on the right hand side is the entrance to their estate, quite grand, and on top of it the crest, which is two dogs and a stag. And they were very good to work for because they built all the housing that you'll see when you're in Loch, the small village of Loch. It's all built of slate. But back in 1985 they sold all the land round about here to Loch Lomond Golf Club. Yeah, any golfers on board? No? I did well with Formula 1 but not so well with golfing. But there's a to join Loch Lomond Golf Club you have to be on a waiting list, and also you have to be invited, and it would have to be someone like Bill Clinton or Samuel L. Jackson that would invite you to join, and it costs about £100,000, and then after that they take another sort of 12,000 off you for your green fees, and at that you would think you could play this course as often as you want, but you're only allowed to play it 10 to 12 times in the year, so on average once a month. So a very expensive round of golf, and there is a waiting list, believe it or not. So I always think you have to be in a certain salary bracket to join this golf club. So it's a pretty narrow road as we come along here. It's certainly, this would have been the main road though before they built the bypass. And just shortly you'll get to see the type of housing that was built. It's really quite cute. It's maybe not the right words, but I think it's quite cute. And you've got the loch on the right hand side as well. So that's the type of house house and you would typically see in Loch. And as we come along here on the Loch, you'll actually see it's like a plinth, if you like, and on top of it is a statue of a small person, like a wee baby. And I used to think that something terrible must have happened. I always go slow because you're almost on it before you realise it. And I used to think something terrible had actually happened because this was there. You can just see it through the trees just now. See it? The next bit. There you go. See it through the trees just now, the plinth with the wee statue on it. So I thought something terrible must have happened and it was there in memory of some poor child who had fallen in the Loch. But how wrong was I? Because there was an artist here and he went down to London with all these statues and stuff and to try and make his fortune. Failed miserably and came back and threw them all in the Loch, and the locals found this one, put it on a plinth, so that's all it is. It's nothing terrible, thank goodness. On the left hand side as we come round, you see some lovely gardens just in this wee house here. How cool is that? We're not allowed to stop. People used to stop there all the time and take pictures, and the people got a bit annoyed about it, quite rightly. So they don't allow us to stop anymore. Parked in the coach park area. I'll be pretty much, the only reason I'll have moved is if some of the bigger coaches come in and I can give them a space and move into something smaller. But I'll be around, you'll be able to find me, no problem. And when we get in there, there's toilet facilities, restrooms, and there's a place you can have coffee. You can walk around the village itself. There's a church as well. If you like to look at that sort of stuff, with a Viking grave, which is quite unusual because Vikings were normally put on boats and put out to sea. It's very small, you won't get lost. As we come in here, if you go straight in front of you just now, that'll take you onto the beach. Then you can walk around the semicircle to the village, or as we go around this part, straight in front past that bus stop, you'll see the toilet facilities are there and where you can get some coffee. And if you walk straight along there in front of the white houses, that'll take you around into the village first, and thereafter onto the pier at Loch Lomond. And along to the beach that way. So I'll leave you to decide yourselves the best way to do that.